Good morning, miss.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Doing great. It's kind of like a nice overcast day here in the city. The heat wave is over. Thank God. Yeah, I feel really great. I got to sleep in today. How about you? What's going on?
I'm good. I'm still in Colorado, as you know, but
Why?
I think I did the math today. It's 12 days, and I will be back in the city. 12.
Yes,
Which is
please.
so soon. I'm so excited to leave and to get back there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's time.
I want you back. It's time. It's
It's
time.
time.
You've been there since when?
I've been in Colorado since May 12th, and today
Oh my God.
is August 21st. It's a really long time.
You have full body chills.
I have full body chills.
Well, what have you been up to? What's been like, what are we watching? What are we doing?
I actually have been watching Squid Game this week. I've been watching the second season. I think I'm one episode away from the end of the second season, and then I'll move on to season 3. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm liking it. I keep on doing this thing when I'm watching, well, where I'll like get a text or like a notification or something, and I'll go to like check my phone, and I'll forget that I need to like keep reading the subtitles, or else I'm going to lose the plot. Because like
100%.
because normally when you watch a show, you can just like answer a quick thing or whatever, and you won't miss anything because you can listen still. But not true of Squid Game.
Yeah, no
Unfortunately.
multitasking during Squid Game, unfortunately.
No. But what about you? What are you watching? Are you still watching Sex and the City?
Sex and the City. Also, like doing a revisit of all my guilty pleasure, trashy reality. That includes Tabitha's Salon Takeover.
I've never heard of that. What is it?
You should her. Yeah. She was like this sort of like famous Bravo personality. Her name's Tabitha. She has like a severe blonde pixie cut, and she's Australian, and she's like, I'm Tabitha and I'm taking over. And she's essentially the Gordon Ramsay of like hair salons. And she gets these people together. She doesn't fuck around. She goes, I'm tough, I'm talented, I'm taking over.
Is it so it's like a makeover situation? Like she's
It's like a Kitchen Nightmares. Like she goes in and
so she goes into hair salons and like fixes them up.
she's like, you're unprofessional, you're rude. Oh, that's more British.
We're still working on the dialect.
I know, but you get the gist. You get the gist.
I do.
So that's and unfortunately, a little Dr. Phil, which I hate to admit, but old Dr. Phil is a guilty pleasure. It's a guilty pleasure.
I don't know if I've ever seen a full episode of Dr. Phil.
It's trashy. It's trashy.
What I'm learning about talking about media with you is that there's so much I have not ingested.
That's a compliment. I take that as a compliment.
No, and you should. Listen.
One thing I've learned about you is there's always more media. There's always more media.
There's always more media to consume. To come soon and to consume, yeah.
Woo, girl. Oh. Well, speaking of media, should we get to what we wanted to talk about today?
I mean, let's get into this week's topic. Hi, I'm Carson.
And I'm Connor.
And this is He Said, a podcast where we deep dive week by week into anything and everything that fascinates us.
We started this podcast because we feel what the world needs right now is 2 white gay guys talking to each other about their opinions. Enjoy. Carson, I have a lot to talk about.
I don't even know. I mean, I'm assuming the topic, but tell me what we're talking about today.
Yeah, so I didn't make it explicitly clear, but I did send Carson a TikTok to watch previously. We are going to be discussing Ruby Franke and her sort of infamous fall from grace, although I don't think she was ever graceful. But
drag her.
Drag her. I have sort of been stirring about this because one of my favorite memes from this summer was one of Ruby Franke, where all it is a small clip. The sound was going pretty viral on TikTok, and it's just her on the phone, sobbing, crying, going, 30,000?
30,000?
30,000?
30,000? Do you know anything about her or what happened? Like, I'm just curious.
Something about child abuse, and she was a YouTuber. That's really all I know. I know that she was a YouTuber and that there was some abuse involving her children, but that's kind of it.
I mean, everyone's kind of been talking about it this year,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll get into it. So I remember seeing this in college because that's when a lot of the sort of shit was going down. I remember like she had been controversial for a number of years, but it wasn't until like 2022, 2023 that it became a bit more sensationalized. And we'll sort of get into why. So, first, we go back to 2015 when she starts her YouTube channel. It's called Eight Passengers because it's her and her husband and their six children. First of all,
Wow.
crazy, I know. And she's
Where does she live? Where does she live?
Utah. They
Okay,
are they are of the Mormon Church of Latter-day Saints.
I see.
They are sort of just this typical Mormon family, and she kind of just acts insane. And they posted a lot. She posted for years, 5 days a week. She was posting family vlogs. And it sort of would document her life and like their young children, and the children grew up with them. By like 2020, they had millions of subscribers. They were just pretty well known YouTube family vlog situation.
I mean, I was going to ask, like, what was the kind of reaction in those early years? I mean, were people fans of them?
Yeah, I mean, they sort of just had their regular YouTube fan base. This is
Mm-hmm.
when mommy vloggers and family vloggers were like really popping off. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was guilty of it myself. I wasn't watching Eight Passengers, but that was just sort of peak popularity for that sort of
The
video.
genre.
Yeah, that was like YouTube. I remember also like even being in middle school and YouTube just having sort of like a boom, and you get the gist. But people didn't really start raising eyebrows for a couple years. It really was actually COVID around the pandemic time that people started to really have issue with Ruby Franke. She was always a bit more on the extreme side with like authoritarian parenting, and she wasn't ever particularly shy about, the extent of the punishments for her children. She was a bit flagrant about it, and most of the time she would actually have her kids explain with her in each vlog like what was going on, like talking about the punishments, talking about what they did wrong. It's very sort of like gross. It just is like icky.
It's like it seems like shameful almost.
It's shameful, and
Yeah.
it's really like performative, but it's like you believe it because it's like no normal person would lie about this, and it starts to get a bit more extreme. Like I remember like back in the day, like when this was happening, and I remember seeing stuff before anything criminal was happening. Like they were controversial before this got to a crazy level. And I remember her congratulating them on taking tongue lashings. She's like, I will say, like in a vlog, she's like, I will say, like, you took that tongue lashing very well. And I'm very proud of you for like, it's sort of just really dissonant behavior.
So what's a tongue lashing? Sorry.
So, no,
mean,
we should make that clear is that's sort of just like her yelling at them.
oh, okay. See, I was picturing like her hitting them on the tongue, which is like like I pictured them like sticking their tongue out, her lashing. So
You took that really well. No.
I know, and I was like, okay, all
No,
right.
no, just like
I'm
yelling.
so glad I
like,
asked.
I am too. Wish I could say that was the worst thing that happened though. Everything that also these instances I'm about to go through were all publicly admitted on her YouTube channel. There's no ambiguity as to whether these events occurred or not.
Well, I have a question. Were they recorded, or did she just talk
No.
about them? Okay.
No, she just talked about them like freely and openly, and it was sort of, the trials and tribulations of their sort of Mormon everyday life, like their discipline,
Okay.
their good times and also like their bad times. It's very crazy.
That's bizarre.
Her daughter Eve, their kindergarten called Ruby because she sent her to school without a lunch. And Ruby said, I will not send her a lunch because it's her responsibility. Her kindergartner, 5, 6 years old, was expected to be responsible, prepare, pack, and take her lunch with her every day. And she told the teachers, she said, do not give her a lunch. Sort of like crazy authoritative, wanting her to
to learn
You
a
can't
lesson, I guess.
try to teach her
But
a lesson and be manipulative. This is a
I mean,
child.
she's 5. I don't think I would have been capable of making my own lunch at 5 years old. I don't think most
No.
5-year-olds are. I have
No,
no
there was
idea.
also another instance where the same child, the 5, 6-year-old, missed school because she didn't get herself up. And Ruby in the vlog says, she says with her like weird like robotic accent, she's like, no, like if you're old enough, if you can't get yourself up for school, you're gonna miss school. And one of the other kids is like, she's 5. She's 5. Like, and you know,
My parents were still getting me up for school in high school. Like, I'm not even
seriously.
kidding. My dad would walk in my room at 6:30 in the morning and say, "Get up, you got to get ready for school."
Same. And sometimes I was such a bitch about it sometimes. Like
Oh, me
I
too. Me too. Me too. But no, I mean, that to expect a 5-year-old to get themselves up for school is crazy. But so you're saying that the other kids were noticing this behavior, that it was kind of crazy.
They were, but we're still ultimately pretty submissive to it
Okay.
because how can you not? How could you not?
I mean, yeah.
Also, Ruby Franke is a performer. She is an actress. Even you see it in the TikTok, like she is performing down. Like the tears, like I can't even believe that she had all like that TikTok that I referenced.
30,000.
The context of that TikTok, she was on the phone with an insurance company because she says there was a flood in her basement. It smelled mildewy. And she called to ask how much it would cost to repair the damage. And that's where she says 30,000 and starts
$30,000.
sobbing, crying, sits on the floor and says, you floored me. I'm on the floor. She's an actress. She's
That's so
performing.
interesting.
She
So
is performing.
I thought this was a happy 30,000. I thought this was I like when I first saw it, I thought this was a like we won $30,000 because I mean to elicit that reaction, I think it would have to come from joy, not from pain. But I mean, this is interesting talking about just like family vloggers in general. And like I think it's the same with like relationship content, like people who make that kind of content. Cause it's like the whole question of like when does the family start and stop, and like when does the camera, do you know what I mean?
Where's
Like
the line?
where's the line between like we're doing this because we're a family and we love each other, and we're doing this because mommy's got to put food on the table and this is what mommy's job is. Do you know what I mean? It's and so I think it's so natural for somebody to cross into that like manipulative standpoint when they are depending on their family to perform in order to put food on the table.
I mean, especially if you're already sort of predisposed to that authoritarian, extreme parenting.
Well, so you haven't mentioned the dad at all. I mean, was he involved? Like in
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Okay. I'm getting ahead of
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, it's a valid question because we're talking a lot about Ruby and where's Kevin? Kevin's in the house too. Kevin comes more into it later on.
Okay.
So we'll circle back to Kevin. And as we go into later, like 2018, 2019 into 2020, we start to see a couple more extreme punishments mentioned. She sent one of her children to a wilderness camp for troubled teens. She threatened to behead a stuffed animal. She told 2 of her children Santa Claus wouldn't bring them for anything for Christmas because they were too numb to her punishments. So her punishments weren't extreme enough. So she starts threatening that Santa's not going to come. Just sort of like really
And these are things
backwards.
that she's publicly admitting on her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I remember her always being a bit controversial, but it never really stepping outside the boundaries of, I don't know, just sort of extreme parenting. It didn't seem necessarily abusive at this time. However, it sort of started to take a turn when the 15-year-old, who was the oldest at the time, Chad, he got a pretty extreme punishment for pranking one of his brothers. He woke up his brother at 2 a.m. saying, we're going to Disney, get up. They weren't. He was just pulling like a bullshit prank on his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby decides to ground him from his room. He was banned from going in his room for 7 months.
Whoa.
And he had to sleep on a beanbag chair downstairs for 7 months. And
What about like What about his clothes? I mean, could he still go in there to get dressed, or
I mean, I'm sure there were stipulations I'm sure there were specifics.
maybe they moved his clothes out of his room or something?
Yeah, or maybe he just like couldn't sleep in there, but he was not allowed to use his bed for 7 months.
Wow.
And it was explicitly in a video. And this is when viewers really started to like get
Eyebrow
on the other
raise.
side of things. Eyebrows were raised all over.
Mm-hmm.
People started a petition, like literally a change.org petition.
Seriously? This is 2020?
2020, like
Okay.
during the pandemic, and people started reporting what they perceived as child abuse, neglect, and
Just random people on the internet are reporting her, like from her videos, are like pointing out, like, look at this video, this is child abuse. Wow. That is fascinating.
Yeah, and Ruby came out and she defends her discipline. She says things were taken out of context, which they were on your YouTube channel. I don't know what was out of context.
Mm-hmm.
But because of this, over 2020 and 2021, they decline in popularity. They sort of lose steam. And it's reported in 2022 that her and Kevin have separated and that Kevin is no longer living in the house. That's all we know. That's all we know.
There's no details of their separation or any kind of that. All we know is that he has moved.
At this time, yes.
So now she is with the kids alone.
No.
Okay.
So this is when we're introduced to Jody Hildebrandt.
Okay.
Jody is a similar sort of like waspy white woman Mormon who she's a therapist essentially, and she is a mental health and life coach. And her and Ruby become connected in 2021, and we're assuming that this is what caused the separation with her and Kevin. They start a company together called Connections, spelled CONNEXION. Connections, like with an X.
Okay.
So stupid.
What is this company?
Well, funny you should ask. We still don't really 100% know, but they launch this YouTube video together in their channel. The channel's called Connections. It's in early 2022.
So she's no longer posting on the 8-passenger YouTube.
Correct.
This is over. Okay.
It's pretty much over. Although the videos are still there, the channel's still there.
Mm-hmm. She's just not actively posting.
Yeah. Okay. They create a joint Instagram called Moms of Truth. In this company, they're offering parenting classes, life coaching, just sort of coming together to sort of form their own doctrine. To me, it seems a bit like a culty, abusive sort of parenting situation based in faith and religion, which is unfortunate. And I assume that this is probably why she's separated from her husband, Kevin.
Well, and I mean, not only based in faith and religion, but based in a kind of toxic faith and religion that is celebrating abusive, authoritative parenting. I mean, I think there's a way to raise your kids in faith and religion and have it be very productive and very, giving your kids morals and all of that. But this is not that. This is not that.
And unfortunately, a lot of it, I think, comes down to narcissistic behaviors. And you're totally right. Like, it's using faith sort of as an excuse to be like totalitarian instead of actually teaching morals and all of the good things that come with sort of faith-based parenting. So over some time, at this point, she only has some of her children. Some of her children have grown up and moved out. Her oldest daughter, Sherry, she said, I'm out of here. I don't want anything to do with you. She goes to college. Yeah, she was like, I'm done. She goes off to college. And after some time, things are a little weird because it's assumed that her and Hildebrandt kind of were living together and that Jody is sort of helping take care of the kids. So Shari calls for a wellness check. She calls to sort of get things checked out, make sure her younger siblings are okay. Because there are still like littles. And the police...
So she's the oldest of 6. So there's 5 others that are still living in the house.
Yes. And I believe she's the second oldest, but the oldest daughter.
Okay.
And Chad, I think, is older. She was concerned because it appeared from the Connections videos that she was leaving the kids alone a lot. Like, there was general concern, but nothing concrete. The police go to check. They don't find anything of concern. No issues. We jump forward a little bit. August 2023. Ruby and Jody were arrested in Irvins, Utah. And 2 days later, were both charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse.
Whoa.
Felony charges.
Holy cow.
According to a statement from the Santa Clara Public Safety Department, said that they were triggered after the 12-year-old son, who appeared emaciated, had escaped through the window of Jody's home and was knocking on neighboring doors asking for food and water.
Goodness.
Now, keep in mind, all of the records, every bit of information about this case has been made completely public. All the footage is public, it's all accessible, and it's pretty shocking. I mean, I watched a great deal of it. There's footage of this 12-year-old who's referred to as RF going to multiple homes. He's knocking on doors.
Oh, so there's footage of his like this escape. Like, is it like Ring cameras or like?
It's ring cameras, girl. It's
Oh,
ring cameras.
Wow.
And he finally gets to this one neighboring house. And it's this old guy. He comes out. They're talking to him. They're giving him food. And it's really distressing, the 911 calls. It has him on camera calling the police saying, I've got a 12-year-old boy here and he looks like he hasn't eaten in days. And it's really, really bad. He
That is
has
heartbreaking.
He has wounds on his wrists and his ankles.
Like from like a knife or?
From being tied up.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, stop. The police, they're on it.
And so now they're charged with the felony.
Well, first they go and they got to find these girls. They got to find the hoes.
Yeah.
They go to Jody's. They ask her to step out. This is all on camera. You can go and watch all of this footage of Jody's arrest, of Ruby's arrest. You can go and watch it all. It's crazy. Jody's like, I got my attorney on the phone. Like, I'm not coming out. They yank her out of that house. She's like, you don't have a warrant. They're like, girl, we're like way past that. First of all, her house, probably the ugliest home in America. Literally cannot believe it. Literally looks like a bunker, like a military bunker. It's like cement.
This is Jody's home?
Yeah.
That all the kids were living at in Ivans.
Two of them.
Okay.
So like the youngest two, which I believe were like 10 and 12, like around those ages. They grab her, they pull her out, and they go to search the house. They ask, is anyone else here? She says yes. The 10-year-old girl is here. And they find her sitting in a closet alone, and she won't speak. She won't move. She's scared out of her mind. The police are searching her house. She's been abused.
Severely,
ostensibly.
Yeah.
It takes them 4 hours for her to get out of the closet. To get her out. It's really shocking. They have all of it on footage. They have ENT workers are coming out of the house sobbing. They take both the kids to the hospital where they're treated for severe malnourishment and deep lacerations for being tied up. They have footage of this, but a lot of it is edited out for, safety of the children. They actually do a really good job sort of protecting the youngest children in this, trying not to refer to them by their full names, trying not to show their faces and anything. They have to be really respectful, but eyewitness accounts say that the wounds look almost infected and that it's been just a really, really bad situation. The Utah Division of Child and Family Services, they took the children into their care.
They've become like wards of the state basically now? Okay.
Pretty much. They check the house and they find pantries of food, and it looks as if she's been treating their wounds with honey and cayenne pepper.
Huh?
Yeah. Really odd specific detail, but it goes beyond it goes beyond what anyone would have imagined.
Yeah. Wow.
Ruby shows up to Jody's house. Police are there. Ruby pulls up. Ruby literally pulls up. She heard police was there. She heard police was there, and she essentially turns herself in. And when I tell you, it is the creepiest fucking footage of her willfully walking into this home, being patted down by the police. She sits on the couch and doesn't say a word. And she's already like a creepy robot, but this is like even more. They take her down to the police station. They question her. She's still not saying a word. She's pretty uncooperative. They even wonder if she maybe has something going on, if she needs some medical attention. They're like, we just want to make sure you understand what's happening. And then on camera, they have an officer giving her the charges that she's going to be booked for felony charges
of child abuse.
Aggravated child abuse. I have something pulled up from the official case summary. This is what has sort of, this was what was announced to the world before any of the body cam footage came out. The ensuing investigation revealed that Miss Franke and Miss Hildebrandt held Franke's 12-year-old son and 9-year-old daughter in a work camp-like setting. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. They were also prohibited from interacting with others and were hidden in the home when others came to visit. They were forced to do physical tasks like carrying loaded boxes up and down the stairs and sitting against the wall without a chair or stool for hours at a time. The children were also forced to do manual labor outdoors in the extreme summer heat without shoes or socks. They were similarly forced to stand outside on a cement patio in the summer heat for hours and even days. They were beaten, and the 12-year-old was bound hand and foot after a previous attempt at running away. Additionally, the children suffered emotional abuse to the extent that they came to believe they deserved the abuse.
Wow.
That's the official police statement.
You know, it's crazy hearing that, because hearing like the specific things that were done to them, because it's like the manual labor, carrying boxes, doing yard work, that kind of stuff. You can kind of like explain all of those away as like, oh, that's just parenting, and like that's what this is just authoritative parenting, or like sitting in timeout, that kind of thing. But to this extent is where it crosses the line.
Yeah, where it goes from discipline to abuse.
Yeah, completely.
Now, because Jody and Ruby are devout Mormons, they both claim very publicly that they believe that the abuse they committed was justified because of their religious beliefs. And they both claim it was to teach them the proper way to repent and to expel evil from their bodies. What's really creepy is they have all of the jail phone calls recorded. I don't know why Jody and Ruby thought that these were private, but they have all been released to the public. Jody, in phone calls, compares herself to a biblical martyr and that this is unjust. You know, she thinks that she's doing this so that future generations can learn from it. It's very, very, it sends a chill down my spine. It does. She is like a creepy, nasty woman.
It's twisted. I mean,
It's
that's
so
I mean, that's
twisted.
kind of what I was getting at, what I was saying about the, that you can all justify this as like parenting, that this is just tough parenting that we're doing. And so I'm not surprised at all that that's kind of the direction that they went in when it came to kind of explaining themselves. I mean, I'm surprised that Ruby turned herself in after all that. I mean, basically, are you saying, so she turns herself in, she goes to jail, and then the second she gets in jail, she starts saying, but I didn't do anything wrong, and this was just me parenting my kids, blah, 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 blah.
Pretty much. And Ruby is a bit more complicated. And you'll see why when we get to her sentencing. But Jody stands on this, that she is there unjustly, and she is a martyr, and she is doing this so that she can suffer and people can learn from this because she's actually in the right.
Do we know where the other two children are? Because we have the youngest two, and then the two that are out of the house, and then we got the middle two. What's going on with them? Do we know?
It's unclear.
Okay.
I couldn't find a lot of concrete information about the children at all, which unfortunately I think is a good thing.
I think, no, I was just about to say that. I think that's on purpose and deliberate, that like we don't really know what's going on with the children to protect them in all of this. I mean, in my mind, maybe they're with their dad or another relative or something.
Yeah, it's unclear exactly who is with who, their ages even. There just wasn't a lot of like public information about the kids at current day. So, I mean, there's enough information about the kids when they were younger. I mean, Ruby literally had their formative years on YouTube. And because of that, and because of like her new channel connections, there was so much evidence. It's insane how much evidence there was against her. All of these years of YouTube videos, then they find Ruby's personal journal where, yes, that outlines her time with Jody until the present. And it outlines pretty much daily what was going on in terms of the abuse, the specific events, punishments. Let's go through just a couple of the entries from Ruby's personal journal. On June 30th, 2023, R, who is referred to as just R, she says R refuses to do wall sits. He says he is done. July 1st, 2023. R is to stay outside, sleep outside, only comes in to bathroom or shower. In July.
In Utah. In the desert.
Utah. July 14th, 2023. E refuses to work, screams, has hair shaved off. Yeah,
My
that was also a
goodness.
punishment. If that was also a punishment, she would threaten to shave your hair off. And she
Wow.
would. I'm assuming also that E is the daughter and that R is the son.
The two youngest that living with Jody. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Was Ruby living there as well? Were they living together in Jody's house? Okay.
Yes. July 15th, 2023. R runs away around 1:15 a.m. Ruby finds him at 3:14 a.m. This is assumed to be why R was then tied up, because she had escaped before.
And she has like the detailed times of when all of this happened.
Timestamps.
Journal. That is ridiculous. So she had absolutely no idea that this is what she was doing was wrong, or
no, she thought
okay.
she thought this was the way. She thought this was and clearly it was from like Jody's sort of them coming together is what instilled in this sort of madness.
Pushed her to another level of parenting.
Right.
Yeah.
This is about a month and a half before R finally escapes successfully. I have another entry that's a bit longer. Most of them are short like that, but every once in a while there'd be a longer journal. This is from July 10th, 2023. It's R's birthday. He doesn't even know what month it is. E and R have been in so much deviant behavior, they won't control their bodily functions. They are both furious. Their selfish, sinful lifestyle is being intervened upon. I told R he emulated a snake. He slithers, sneaks around looking for opportunities when no one is watching. Then he scurries. If he wants to emulate the Savior, he needs to be 100% obedient with exactness. No wavering, no hiding. She also says, when E was outside today, it was so hot. She screamed like she was dying. So pitiful. I told her the heat in hell is hotter than God is to burn the wicked. Get used to it or start changing.
I have like full body chills. Like that is
FBC.
terrifying. It's terrifying. Like that kind of rhetoric to be hurled at a 9 and 12-year-old is terrifying.
And first of all, to say they don't have control over their bodily functions. So clearly there is some fucked up shit happening with these kids. And she's saying he emulates a snake and he slithers and he sneaks and he scurries when no one watches. And to be obedient with exactness. There's also other journal entries of, her daughter being told to do and smiling and being rewarded for that. Like it is a completely just it takes over. These poor children have just been through trauma. Now, let's talk about Kevin. Isn't that a movie? What is that movie? There's something about Kevin or something?
I think it's called Something About Kevin, right?
There's that Tilda Swinton movie.
Something About Kevin. Let's get into it.
Oh, wait,
let's get into Kev.
Producer Emma said we need to talk about Kevin.
We need to talk about Kevin. We need to talk about Kevin.
Too. Kevin is a weird character in all this because he seems really creepy when he talks about Jody and Ruby. He's brought in for police questioning, but seemingly has no clue that any sort of abuse is taking place. They've been separated for over a year, and he explains he only provides financially for his family.
Like child support kind of situation. Okay.
And Ruby sort of has full custody per their personal agreement. They're not officially divorced. He ends up filing for divorce. He ends up filing for divorce after this, but he explains, I'm very much still in love with my wife. He explains he struggled with a pornography addiction. It's very sort of cryptic. He's asked about Jody, his thoughts on Jody. He says that she is a honest and beautiful person. It's a very strange dynamic. He also says that since their separation, Ruby has been less intimate, but their relationship has improved. They're closer. And then on camera, the police explain, did you have any sort of idea, or Do you have any idea why your 12-year-old might be knocking on people's doors saying he's been tied up and abused? Kevin freaks out. He's learning about this for the first time. He's concerned about Ruby. He doesn't know. He's like still in love with his wife. It is a really, really sort of messed up thing. Um, and he's pretty much absolved of any wrongdoing at this point. It also is never explicitly said, but online it's assumed and heavily rumored that Jody and Ruby had some sort of relationship together and potentially were lovers. Although this has never been explicitly confirmed, it's pretty much assumes that they were a bit more intimate than they had let on.
But so you're saying he felt very close to Ruby. So even though they were legally not, even though they were separated, he would still see the kids like occasionally and
No,
see her.
no.
Or no.
He never saw the kids, but he felt that they had gotten closer as individuals. That's just how
Even
he
though they were
felt.
not, even though they weren't like speaking or seeing each other in person.
Yeah. They would speak.
Okay.
They wouldn't like meet up, but
They would text or call or whatever.
and he had mentioned that like the week before they had discussed car ownership because she wanted the title in her name for the car. Like they were actively separating, but to him, and you know, this kind of like happens in those sort of stricter religious marriages. And also, he's like, I've dealt with my own addictions and stuff. I'm sure that's probably like, he probably feels some responsibility maybe for their separation. I don't know.
One is sharing it very publicly also.
Yeah.
About his own kind of
unbeknownst
issues.
to him.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to him. And I remember this. I remember her being arrested. I remember this coming out and just like being gagged, literally being gagged.
Yeah.
And I also remember her first court appearance, which is in December 2023.
Okay. So pretty quick.
Couple months. Because they did not go to trial.
Okay.
They both accepted pleas. They both pled guilty. Ruby pled guilty to 4 counts of felony aggravated child abuse. She later pled not guilty to 2 other counts, but the factual basis mentioned an incident of Franke forcing her son to work outdoors. All of these, like all of the specific counts were sort of addressed, and Franke agreed to serve prison, and she agreed to serve them consecutively, meaning one after the other, because there's certain, I'm assuming that there's certain sentencing where you can serve them concurrently and you can serve multiple counts in the same time period. This was not the case. She was going to have to stay in prison consecutively for each count.
Okay. So like one at a time.
Correct. However, it's sort of still not even decided upon how long those counts are going to be. For this sort of charge, it could be 1 to 15 years for each count. So minimum of 4 years, maximum of 60. Franke was expected to testify against Jody, but Jody didn't go to trial. Jody just pled guilty.
Okay.
Which sort of like helped her because it also dropped off 2 extra charges for Jody. This is all for public viewing on the internet. I've watched it. I remember when it came out watching it. She showed up for her first court appearance with her hair curled. I was like, this is crazy. And she has a very, very creepy statement at her sentencing. And I'm going to read it to you because it's really creepy.
Please do.
She says, "For the past 4 years, I've chosen to follow counsel and guidance that has led me into a dark delusion. My distorted version of reality went largely unchecked as I would isolate from anyone who challenged me. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abuse. Jody Hildebrandt was never my business partner, nor was I ever employed by her. I have never received wages from her or connections. Jody was employed as my son's counselor in 2019 and 2020. I paid her to be my mentor." It is important for me To demonstrate my remorse and regret without blame, I take full accountability for my choices, and it is my preference that I serve a prison sentence.
Okay. I'm
So just like
getting
not what she let on.
yeah, I'm getting some mixed messages here. I mean, like, so she wants to serve her prison sentence and take responsibility, but she's also denying facts of the case and what was occurring. I mean, it's just interesting to me.
I mean, you would look at it and think, oh, maybe she's come to her senses a little bit and has maybe seen the error of her ways. But then you also think, is this sort of just her way of justifying it to herself and saying that she was deluded under Jody and sort of blaming her a little bit? I think that is also the case.
Interesting.
Her attorney said in a statement, Ruby Franke wants to take responsibility for the harm she's caused to her children and to her entire family. She knows that by pleading guilty and accepting the punishment, she's taking a step in the right direction to be accountable for her actions.
Okay. I mean, if you say so, girl. Like, I don't know.
If you say so, girl.
If you say so, like, I don't know. I am glad that she is taking responsibility. I'm glad that she is serving some prison time for this
She is
horrible
going
thing.
to be serving. She is going to be serving.
She's going to be serving in this prison. But it's weird because like there were parts of that first statement you read that also seemed to deny her involvement. And so it's just...
Or deny her willingness to say, yeah, I wanted to do this. It was her kind of saying, Jody was not my friend. She deluded me. This was, you know.
And I have nothing to do with connections and like, I don't know. It's just interesting.
It is.
But I mean, all's well that ends well. I mean, I think she is serving prison time.
She's
serving that prison. And so I think that's what matters. Like at the end of the day, that justice for these kids is happening.
Yeah, although Utah is kind of weird because she could serve up to 60, but the Utah code dictates that she can't serve more than 30. Unless you can't serve more than 30 years unless you're like under life imprisonment or the death penalty. So she won't be in jail longer than 30 years.
Has there been any kind of like specification of her exact sentencing?
Not at this moment.
Okay.
Not at
so
this
she's
moment.
she's in jail currently for a undetermined amount of time. Could be 4 years, could be 30 years.
And it's going to be determined not by a judge. Again, Utah's weird, so it's going to come down to the Utah Board of Pardons and Parole. So it's up to Utah to make that decision.
Is there any kind of timeline that they're going to make that decision?
Not at this moment. Not at this moment.
All
and
right.
we see how people get lesser times for good behavior. It's not great. It's not great. Utah's a bit lax, so...
Well, I do hope that when she does get out of prison, that her children are able to stay completely separated from her.
And speaking of, since all of this mess, there has been a lot that has come out from the children and also like from the world. I mean, they made a Lifetime movie about it called Mormon Mom Gone Wrong, the Ruby Franke story with Heather Locklear. And Hulu
like
also...
a movie like a narrative movie, not a documentary. Okay. All right.
Which was, I mean, I couldn't watch it because it wasn't available for me to stream unless I rented it. But apparently it's pretty dramatized and not completely accurate, as Lifetime tends to do. But also, Hulu put out a docuseries earlier this year, which is why a lot of people were talking about it this year. And I didn't go through that because I don't have Hulu, but I'm assuming it's probably a lot of the same information that's publicly accessible
that you've shared today.
And they interviewed the two oldest kids and also Kevin. And I was like, I don't need to hear from Kevin. Kevin, I'm kind of pissed about.
We don't need to talk about Kevin.
No, we don't need to talk about Kevin. Eventually, Ruby's sisters, they actually spoke out about the case. They put out a public Instagram and they said, for the last 3 years, we've kept quiet on the subject of our sister Ruby Franke for the sake of her children. Behind the public scene, we've done everything we could to try and make sure the kids were safe. We wouldn't feel right about moving forward with regular content without addressing most recent events. Once we do, we will not be commenting on it further. Ruby was arrested, which needed to happen. Jody was arrested, which needed to happen. The kids are now safe, which is number one priority.
I agree. I think that's great. I'm happy that her family kind of stepped in for those kids.
And her oldest daughter, Shari, also sat down with ABC and for the first time sort of has been telling her story. She's got a memoir coming out
Oh, wow.
at the age of 21.
Wow. My
And
goodness.
it's called The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom.
Wow.
She said, I certainly got weird vibes from Jody and Ruby. She adds her mom was secretive about their relationship. Quote, I don't think it's normal at all that a therapist would move into your client's home. I was moving out to college. I hadn't even left the house yet, and she's in my room and in my bed. End quote. In the book, Sherry writes about messages that she says she found on Ruby's laptop after the arrest. Writing of the messages, quote, Ruby expressing her frustration about having to cater to Jody's needs for physical affection without getting anything in return.
So is this kind of where the idea that they were lovers kind of came about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She said, sometimes I'll see myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look like her, but I don't want to be anything like her.
I mean, good for Sherry to talk about your story like that so publicly must be hard, but it's also, I think, important.
And she reacts to the statement that Ruby said in her sentencing. She says, I think she's as sorry as she can be. What she's done is so bad, I don't think her mind allows her to kind of fully comprehend the guilt of all of that. And so I think that she probably genuinely believed everything she said. I don't believe it, though.
Clock it. Clock that.
I mean, yeah, I think it just sort of like it makes you think about monetizing children on social media. Not to circle back.
No, to
But it
circle back,
does.
please do. It makes
But
you
it
think
does.
about the consequences of that, especially when, like every family, your family goes through something, hard or private or abusive. I mean, I think like that is, and to be in such a public sphere it is illuminating.
I mean, Shari also wrote in a Utah Senate committee hearing, she said, quote, when children become stars in their family's online content, they become child influencers. It's more than just filming your family life and putting it online. It is a full-time job with employees, business credit cards, managers, and marketing strategies. She also has been calling for greater restrictions on family vlogging, especially when children are too young to consent. She says there's no such thing as a moral or ethical family vlogger.
I have to agree with her.
T.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much wraps up the sort of trials, or not trials, and tribulations of Ruby Franke the past 10 years.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That was so interesting. And
So fascinating.
I mean, it's fascinating. And I am honestly just pleased at the end of the day that her children are safe and are with people that are not abusive anymore to them. So they've kind of received justice in that way.
I hope so. And I hope that they stay at peace. Well, to bring up sort of a lighter note, I know it's a little bit heavy topic of conversation, but what have you sort of been obsessed with this week? What is your weekly obsession?
My obsession this week, I am one chapter away from finishing Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins.
Oh my gosh. No spoiler review?
I'll give you a no spoiler review.
No spoiler review?
I've really, really enjoyed reading it. It's been such a page turner. It's crazy because, like, it's Hamish's games, as you know. And so, I mean, we all know how the games, we all know who wins, but it is the way that it unfolds, I think, is really clever. And I think Suzanne does a really good job at telling the story. I also read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which was a departure, I think, from the original trilogy and just to terms of storytelling. This kind of really harkens back to the original trilogy of Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. I think it reminds me a lot of those books in a good way. So I know I'm so excited to see what they do with the movie.
I know, I can't wait for the movie.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I didn't read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but I saw the movie. And I loved it.
Yeah. I thought the movie was good. I think the ending was a little rushed. It was more drawn out in the book, and it was a little rushed in the movie. But what can you do?
Split into two parts, like Wicked.
What about you? What are you obsessed with?
My obsession this week and probably for the rest of summer is Big Brother. Guys, you got to get on it. You got to get on Big Brother. This season, I watch every year, but this season has particularly one of the most unlikable casts in recent history. I've never been more entertained. Literally, there's like maybe two people, like a person that I'm like rooting for. It's crazy. They're so unlikable. There's so much like stupid, like they don't know how to play. As a reality TV fan, it's amazing. I'm so entertained. It's going till October. It's never too late to jump on, get on the BB27 train now. Twitter is blowing up. There's 3
Get on
episodes
that
a week.
BB.
There's 3 episodes a week.
Holy shit.
And you don't have to like it's low stakes. It's low stakes. Like one major thing will happen in an episode.
I see.
But yeah.
That's like, did you watch Love Island?
No, but everyone else did.
People here were watching it, and I watched an episode, and I was like, I can't get into
struggle
this
I
at
struggle with the
all.
straight love. I struggle. I struggle with straight love on television.
Sure.
Reality.
I think, well, to me, because there's a new episode every day, it's like nothing happens. Like literally, it's an hour and a half of nothing, and they have to pump them out so quickly that the editing is just horrible, and the pacing's off, and sometimes their mics are off. Like
We're gonna get dragged for
it's
this.
sloppy. It is sloppy. Anyways,
But everyone's still it's a lot of like I just wanted to like check in and like see how you were like feeling about like everything that's been like going on, and like yeah, like I'm so glad we talked about this right now because I feel like so much better. I can like let my guard down like with you. You know what I mean?
well, the
It's
reunion's
that.
on Monday, so we'll see.
And
Maybe
unfortunately, I know all the characters. Like I know everyone who's on it. It's
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, we know our obsessions. Carson, what are you ghosting this week? What are you putting to bed?
So I am the type of person, I eat pretty much the same thing, like all the time. I eat the same thing for breakfast every day. I pretty much eat the same thing for lunch every day. And then I'll switch around dinner depending on like what I have. I do a lot of meal prep and stuff. And I think I need to put that to bed. I think I need to experiment a bit more in my meals. You know, because I have the same thing. I have a peanut butter bagel and eggs every morning, and it's the same thing every single morning. And it's nice because like it's easy. I don't have to think about it, like whatever. But I think I could do with some experimentation. So I'm gonna put to bed this idea that I need to be always eating the same thing. Yeah. What about you?
I am putting to bed. It kills me to say because I've been unsuccessful in the past, but social media between the hours of 10 and 10. I have it blocked. I'll turn it off though, but I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it. No social media from 10 to 10. Because the days I wait till 10 a.m. And it's also important in the morning. It's important not to scroll at night, but it's also important not to scroll in the morning. And it's totally helped my anxiety.
I'm sure.
But I gotta stick with it.
You gotta stick with it. But you can.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
I believe in myself too. Thanks, Carson. I really, but I love it. Like, it feels really good. Good vibes. And I believe in you that you can switch up your breakfast.
And maybe I will. And maybe I will.
No, you will.
Okay, fine. I will. I'll do it. I'll get some cereal.
All right, miss. Well, this has been so much fun. I know kind of a dark topic, but very interesting.
But an important, very meaningful and important to talk about. So
yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing this today. And I will see you next time.
I'll see you. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of He Said, He Said.
If you'd like to follow us, we are on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at He Said Podcast. You can find all of our other episodes wherever you listen to podcasts.
This episode of He Said, He Said was hosted by Carson Timmons and Connor Mangan. Editing and production by Emma DeWitt, and music by Carson Timmons.
See you next week. Slay! Okay, we did it.